All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth, with Ben Jokes. Bola Tinubu will on Wednesday depart for Paris, France, on a 2-week working visit. I have lost count of the number of times this man has traveled out of this country, particularly to France, within these 23 months he has spent in office. Devil's advocate here says there is something about France that this administration is not willing to tell us. At the time, many African nations are breaking ranks with France. We are just starting our romance with them. That is it. There is something really fishy here. And Omobadele says battery needs to be recharged. Olamilekon here says nonsense. Walking visit on behalf of who? With the taxpayers' money? What kind of rubbish is this? And hours after Tinubu left Nigeria, Sowore wrote this. He said, Nigerians are being lied to. Tinubu fled to France for medical treatment, not work. What an unfortunate situation we have found ourselves in as a nation. After 8 years of doing this with Buhari, I can't believe we are here again in the same boat. But of course, that explains why the country is falling apart. The economy is in shambles. Power sector is in a mess, and insecurity has taken over every corner of this nation as we speak. And few hours ago, the Tinubu administration stunned Nigerians with a display of massive confusion and conflict. This confusion and conflict did not only show that Tinubu's failure is massive and cannot be overturned, it also showed that Nigerians are doomed for as long as this man remains in office. Before I show you details of this top story and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video by His Excellency Peter Obi.
I believe that reforms take time for people to start seeing the gains of it.
Well, that's what their argument is.
But people have to see a clear roadmap that what they are sacrificing for, let's take fuel subsidy, which they say there's huge savings. Where is the savings being challenged?
Well, they said, for example, and I'm not a spokesman for the government, but I have to play the devil's advocate because they're not here. I mean, they said that, for instance, more money is being given to the states. And if you look at the numbers, I mean, the amount of money that the states are getting, I mean, it's higher than it used to be. Although some are making the argument, and I suspect you're making the same argument, that because of the devaluation of the naira, what they're getting is not worth anything.
Charles, if you are making a savings, you said, I want to save this money to be able to invest where? You have to invest in critical areas of development. And those critical areas of development are education, health, and pulling people out of poverty. Are we investing in it? Just no.
Well, they would argue that they're investing in education. They're providing funds and loans for students, which has never happened in this country before, to allow them to be able to go to school.
This country has universal basic education. And we have over 20 million children out of school. That is the critical area. It is the basic education that is the critical area. We're not doing anything in it. Just today, I visited an IDP camp. There's over 40,000 people in IDP camps around Abuja. I'm not talking outside Abuja. The one I visited is in Abuja. With over 4,000, they don't have a primary health care.
4,000 or 40,000?
Over 4,000. Right. 40,000 around Abuja. But 4,000 in this particular facility. Right, okay. They don't have a primary health care. They don't have a primary school. They used to have a primary school, which was there by UNICEF. It's closed down for the past 3 years. The kids are there. There's no primary school. There's no health care. So, if you don't have that in Abuja, where do you have it? Where? And this is the one you said is free. Free and compulsory. So where are you investing the money?
So your conclusion then is that there isn't a clear plan and a trajectory, that it's kind of all over the place.
That is convincing. Because you have said, I'm removing this, you have to sacrifice, you have to suffer. Where are you investing it? It has to be clear. It has to be verifiable. It has to be visible. People have to see it. They have to feel it.
You saw that. That was Peter Obi completely destroying the Tinubu regime there. And personally, I have not seen any leadership, both at the state and local government level, that is as confused as this Tinubu regime. But then again, it may not even be confusion. It may just be a deliberate attempt to completely ruin this nation. Think about what the removal of subsidy on petrol, education, and power has done to this country. It has ruined businesses, it has destroyed careers, it has even destroyed marriages. Starvation has broken many homes in Nigeria. Then to think that all those sacrifices are for nothing, to think that the man who removed that subsidy has no plan for the nation, isn't that a monumental catastrophe? Sometimes when I look at the damage that Tinubu has done to this country, when I look at the damage in numbers, I begin to doubt if this nation can ever be redeemed. But Peter Obi said he can't do it, and if he says he can, then I believe him. Now, let us look at the top story. In the last 3 days, Tinubu, Nigerian army, and Nigerian police chiefs have been preaching against jungle justice. Just weeks ago, the Supreme Court sentenced a man to death for defending himself. The government kept telling us that the security forces are more than enough to protect this country, and that as a matter of fact, they are making huge progress in securing Nigeria. But hours ago, the Director General of DSS, Adiola Ajayi, stood before the whole country and conflicted, went against all that Tinubu and the other security chiefs had been saying. He actually told Nigerians that the Tinubu administration cannot guarantee their safety, that they must get up and defend themselves. See the video.
Speaking seriously about the practical approach to mobilizing to curb insecurity, I'll share experience with you when I was state director in Bauchi. Most of you will remember an incident in Azari. A group of terrorists, the Boko Haram, then had invaded Azari. They were shooting in an attempt to kidnap, and the community chased them. They killed some members of the community, but the community members killed all of them. The last guy, Khalid, climbed onto a tree and was firing. The community stood, they were resilient, and they killed Khalid. Since that day, there has not been one terrorist attack in Azari. As a matter of fact, the former head of state, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, said, and I quote, "If we want to stop or curb this terrorism, we shall emulate the Azari example." Tafawa Balewa also happened to be a local government in Bauchi that was always in flames. And the people of Bogoro and some part of Tafawa Balewa, where the Sayawas are, rose up on one occasion. They knew their terrain better, climbed onto trees and mountains. And when the invaders came, they did not only repel them, they seized their weapons. And since then, you can attest to it that you hardly hear about Tafawa Balewa again. What I'm trying to say, the practical approach to mobilizing people, is that you have to get everyone involved. You do not expect the Nigerian army, police, DSS, to protect every Nigerian or every community. It is not going to work. In the US, if you visit someone in the house, you will be shocked that when the guy hears a police siren, he will just pull his drawer, bring out his gun and keep it. So one of my hosts did that, and I asked him, why are you putting gun here? He said, well, if they are chasing someone and he enters my house, I'll shoot him first. And that is the layer we have to start thinking about. How can you create first line of defense? The military, police, and other security agencies are to deal with the bigger ones, the organized ones. But it is impossible for us to deploy it to every community in the country.
And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. This tweet here by the EOJ says, but a man stood, defended himself, and the Supreme Court of Nigeria ended up sentencing him to death. What exactly do you guys want from these poor suffering people? That is it. Samuel Jackson, the man who defended himself and killed Fulani headsmen and was sentenced to death by the Supreme Court, is the person this guy is referring to. So who should we listen to? Is it the DSS boss that is saying that the regime has failed, that we should stand up and defend ourselves, or Tinubu and the rest? And Makata here says, this is a trap. Those who have tried to defend themselves in the past ended up in prison, while the people who tried to harm them went scot-free. And this tweet here by Omo Ibadan says, this will be the most ridiculous statement coming from a whole security agency that is supposed to be working tirelessly in protecting life and properties of Nigerians. Honestly, we are doomed in Nigeria. But that is the fact of the matter. The man is coming out to tell you that the regime has failed to secure you, that you have to get up and secure yourself. And this tweet here says, the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government, section 14, subsection 2B, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended. But these guys have broken the Constitution many times. They have almost trashed the Constitution, and they are telling you that they have done the same thing in the aspect of insecurity. This tweet here says, Uromi did what he said, and you all are shouting. This tweet is saying that it is the same thing that the people of Uromi did, and that we must stop complaining. King Dave here says, isn't it the same Nigeria where a guy defended himself and was sentenced to death? Or is it another country? That is the confusion in this regime. I have never seen people this confused before in my life. And this tweet here says, the police and the DSS cannot protect all Nigerians. In quotes, this is an unprofessional statement coming from a head of a security agency as sensitive as the SSS in a country being overtaken by the insecurity as the day goes by. The police and DSS cannot protect all Nigerians who pay them, but they can protect all politicians and even go as low as being domestic slaves to politicians. It's such a shame, but that is the reality in Nigeria today. And Stephen here says, I agree with DSS chief. It is time to organize communities as the first line of defense across Nigeria. I totally support the legal right to bear arms for self-protection in Nigeria. Well, if that is the way they want to go, then they should go ahead. Let us all bear arms. Who is afraid? If those illiterate and dirty, poorly fed Fulani guys can be carrying arms up and down, then why should other Nigerians be afraid to do the same? But let one thing be clear. This administration has failed to protect Nigerians, and they have not only failed, there is serious confusion and conflict between them. There is no agreement between the security chiefs. That is, in fact, one of the reasons for their failure. And the second one is because they are actually complicit in this insecurity. When you look at someone like DSS boss saying this, you know that he is probably innocent. He doesn't know what is happening. He does not know that top APC chiefs are involved in this whole insecurity thing. But in the end, who suffers? It is the Nigerian people. It is the average man on the street that bears the brunt of the failure of APC and their wickedness and complicity in the insecurity that is facing Nigeria. And that is why we keep encouraging the people that for us to get our country back and begin to enjoy this good land that God has given us, we must come together, cast our sentiments aside, and kick the APC out of power. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Na I dey here, so don't go away. Don't go away.